Chapter 6. Types of card abilities. When playing this card game, it's important to understand how abilities are resolved. Abilities are always resolved in the order they are written on the card. Think of it like following a set of instructions in a program. Many abilities are divided into smaller parts, which we call segments, separated by this arrow logo. Each segment of an ability may have certain requirements that need to be met or may require you, the player, to perform specific actions. When resolving an ability, you'll start with the first segment. If you meet the requirements or perform the required action correctly, you move on to the next segment, and so on. You keep going until you've resolved all the segments or until you fail to complete one of them. It's important to note that if you are able to perform the action in a segment, you must do so, even if it might put you at a disadvantage. For example, let's say a card has an ability with 3 segments, A, B, and C. If you can perform the action in segment A, you must do it and then move on to segment B. After completing the action in segment B, you proceed to segment C. However, if you can't complete the action in either segment A or B, the ability ends there, and you won't be able to perform segment C. Cards in our game have 2 types of abilities: automatic abilities and active abilities. Let's break the automatic abilities down into 4 categories. First, the awakening abilities. These are triggered a single time right after the card is summoned into play. Next, let's talk about passive abilities. These provide ongoing effects while the card remains in play. Moving on to conditional abilities. A conditional ability activates whenever specific requirements within the game are met. These conditions can be met multiple times during the same turn, allowing the ability to be activated repeatedly. Lastly, we have status abilities. They can take effect even when the card isn't in play. In this session, we're exploring active ability. Active abilities are labeled to indicate their usage timing. Blue active abilities labeled self. It can be activated only on your turn when you are the attacking player. Red active abilities labeled enemy can be activated only during your enemy's turn when you are the defending player. Black active abilities labeled any offer the most flexibility, as they can be activated on any turn. Each active ability comes with a mana cost additionally. Remember that each ability can only be activated once per turn. To begin activating an active ability, follow these steps. Start by clearly declaring which active ability you intend to use. Next, you need to pay the mana cost. After paying the mana cost, you'll need to perform any actions required by the ability. This could include choosing targets, revealing cards from your hand, or other specific instructions marked before the cut in triangle symbol. Once you reach the cut in triangle symbol, pause and ask if any player, including yourself, wants to use a cut-in. A cut-in allows players to respond or interact with the ongoing ability. If no cut-ins are declared, proceed to resolve the remaining part of the ability's effect following the cut in triangle. Some cards in this game have a special symbol called the common trait symbol. Common traits are abilities that are frequently used throughout the game, so they're considered a standard part of the card's text. To find out more about each common trait and how it works, please refer to the official rulebook. Let's talk about an interactive feature of our game called Cut-In. When you're activating an active ability or summoning a card, you'll need to ask your opponent for a cut-in. When you are activating an active ability, after you've completed any required actions in the segment before the cut in triangle symbol, you must ask for a cut-in. Also, when you're summoning a card and after paying its cost, you must also ask for a cut-in, which allows your opponent to respond to your action. During a cut-in, both players, including yourself, have the opportunity to summon cards or activate additional active abilities in response to the original action. If both players want to cut in, you'll take turns doing so in an alternating order until both players choose not to cut in any further. Once both players have decided not to cut in, the cut-in phase ends. At this point, all the active abilities that were activated and the cards that were summoned during the cut-in are resolved in reverse order. This means that the ability activated or card summoned last will be resolved first. Cut-in example: Player A summons Mana Bolt, a card that deals 3 damage to a chosen Fiddies. Following the first segment of the event ability, Player A targets this Fiddies in the battle area. After that is a cut in triangle. Player A asks for a cut-in. At this point, Player B summons Power of the Wild, a card that increases all power, including health, of a Fiddies by 2. Following the first segment of the event ability, player B targets this Fiddies according to the event ability. After this is a cut in triangle, player B asks for a cut in, but both players decline further cut-ins. The events are then resolved in reverse order of summoning. Power of the Wild, being summoned later, is resolved first, increasing the chosen Fiddies' health to 5. Subsequently, Mana Bolt deals 3 damage to the Fiddies. However, with its increased health of 5, the Fiddies has not been destroyed by the damage.